How's it going, Brad? And thanks for doing this. Just what's the mood been like at practice? And as a senior, older guy, how have you kind of gotten the younger guys around and said, hey, I know that it's silly season. A lot of guys are leaving or sitting out, but there's still a game to play, and we got to go with who we got.
Yeah, most definitely. As a guy who's been in a couple bowl games, around a group that hasn't really been in too many, I feel like yeah, you're right. It's a lot of good things that come with bowls and stuff, a lot of events, a lot of team bonding and things like that. But at the same time, we just came in and since the start of the week and the start of practice, we just been emphasizing the fact that like this is a game and our main goal is to win that game, and it's not to get sidetracked with the events and the outings of the bowl and that type of thing. But even though those are a plus, we have a job to do. So.
Brad, obviously you're one of the older guys that does have a decision to make, whether you want to come back and that kind of thing. I guess just have you decided if at all? And I guess if not, what kind of is the process for you? What are you kind of going through and thinking about in that?
Yeah, I haven't made a decision yet. I'll probably make a decision sometime soon after the bowl. So that's probably when I'll definitely have a decision and make that public. But just multiple things, like for myself personally, I can't speak for other guys. Like me having one full year, playing my position that I've been playing this past year at linebacker. It was a transition from playing D-line to linebacker. So, even though I got a full season with me starting and getting a lot of reps in, sometimes they want to see multiple years, before you make that jump to the league. But so it's just, it's multiple things, and then talking to outside sources and hearing what other people, have to say and what they feel like would be best for me and then what I feel like would be best for me and my family. So those are kind of the things that, thinking about.
Brad, just what have you seen from some of these younger guys through bowl practice? Obviously, you got to see them through the season, but this time period's about getting some of these younger guys reps. What have you seen from them to start, especially Colby and some of the younger linebackers?
No, you're exactly right. This is a time period for like those younger guys to really kind of step up and assume their role even more, or try to assume a different role if they're looking to assume that role. But Kobe Fields, yeah, definitely one of the guys that I've seen like step up, playing a lot of good ball at practice and stuff, and is really picking up on the game plan and the fundamentals of playing LB and stuff like that. Bam, he's another one of those guys. Debo Williams, another one of those guys that just keeps coming. And then not to mention like Mo Kaba, he's going to be a stud. And him and Darrell Ware, the whole linebacker room, I feel like has really made strides since the beginning of the season, including myself from what we were before. So I just feel like, for those younger guys, it's just like taking that next step, and really learning, knowing what to do and implementing that on the field and trying to take your game to another level.
Just to clarify, is it definitely NFL for you or South Carolina? Or the decision between those two things, or are you keeping all options open?
It's mostly between those two things, but all options are open.
All right, and just your growth at the linebacker position. You said you feel like you've grown there. Where do you feel like you've improved? From day one until now, the most.
That's a good question. So I feel like coming from D-line, I was already like trained to use my hands. A lot of times like playing linebacker, like you got to teach guys to use their hands. That's one of the things like coach was emphasizing to like the younger guys that were coming in, like using hands. But I feel like that was like one of the things that I was already good at coming from D-line. But I feel like one of the things that I probably made the biggest strides with was just like eye control and like the mental part of the game playing linebacker, because playing D-line, you're so close up to the action, to the snap of the ball, and really the only keys that you need to be looking at is the tackle in front of you. But playing linebacker, you got to look at, there's a lot of different things that you have to recognize, formations and splits and widths and stuff of alignments of running backs and receivers and that type of thing. So I don't know, it's just a lot of different things that go into playing linebacker. And I feel like one of the main things that I kind of struggled with was at the beginning, like even spring ball and fall camp, when I really first started learning the position, was just eye control. Where do I put my eyes? What I need to be looking at? And I feel like that's probably one of the best things that I made the biggest jump with, I feel like, over the season, if that answers your question.
Brad, obviously a lot's happened between the end of last year to the end of this year. Just when you look from, the mood around this team and kind of where you all felt like you were at maybe at the end of last year, new coach, obviously there's a lot of unknown that comes with that, to where you guys are now. I guess just what's kind of been, if at all, what have you kind of seen as the change, and how do you feel like guys have maybe evolved or, changed or had a different mindset or anything like that? And, how would you kind of evaluate what's sort of this year has been like?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely been a different mood, a different feeling, surrounding the facility, the building, and really the program. I feel like as a whole, since last year, there was a lot of unknowns last year. And a lot of changes and things were happening really fast. And then now I feel like we're just at a point where and throughout this whole year, we've just been, I don't know, it's just been positive. If I could use one word, it's just been a positive transition. It's been a positive process this whole season. Even through the ups and downs, when the times weren't, as good as we may have thought they were or whatever, what they could have been. I feel like just really the main thing is that the whole mood of the building never really changed. Like the positivity still stayed there. So I feel like that's really the biggest change, from looking back from last year to now.